Friends and fellow devotees of the Lord, namaskars to every one of you. I do not go to the movies, so I have understood very little of what you showed on the screen today, but it was obvious that you wanted to convey the idea that Sadhu Vaswani was love personified, and that was perfectly true. Sadhu Vaswani wrote many books. One of them was titled Breakfast with God. In this book are given 366 thoughts, one for each day of the year. The opening thought, the thought for January 1st, is a very significant one. In that first thought, Sadhu Vaswani says, God will not ask whether you have studied Sanskrit or Latin, Greek or Hebrew. God will ask, have you studied the little word of letters 4, L, O, V, E? And this is the legacy of the Sadhu Vaswani mission. If Sadhu Vaswani was anything, he was love personified. He was a man saturated with love. He was an ocean of love. Love flowed out of him unceasingly. His eyes were radiant with love. His words were vibrant with love. The very tips of his fingers thrilled with love. If I were asked to describe in one word who Sadhu Vaswani was, my answer would be love. 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 Love is not merely an emotion. Love is not a noun. Love is a verb. You know the difference between a noun and a verb. Love was Sadhu Vaswani was love. The love, that was the verb. For to love aright is to sacrifice. What is love? This was the question that was put to Mansoor when he was about to mount the scaffold. And he answered, love is not love until it renounces the I, until it renounces the ego. The ego dissolves in the waters of love. When love wakes up in the heart within, the ego disappears. Even as light and darkness cannot dwell together, even so, ego and love cannot dwell together. My friends, renouncing the ego, so said Mansoor, I have not the time today to give you the most thrilling, the most moving story of the life of Mansoor. Some other day perhaps I will be able to do so. But Mansoor said on this occasion, he said, renouncing the ego, you must move on and on and on until you have found what you are seeking, the beloved within the heart. Of a holy man it is said that he was pained to see suffering and misery wherever he turned. And in deep despair, he cried out to the Lord. He said, God, they call you the God of love and mercy. How can you bear to see so much suffering? How can you bear to see so much pain and yet do nothing about it? God smiled. And from the very depth of the consciousness of this holy man came the words, as though God spoke to him. The words were, God said, I created you. I created you. For what did I create you? For what has He created all of us? It is the duty of each one of us to do what we can to alleviate the sorrows and sufferings of people around us. My friends, God has created us and He has poured love into our hearts so that we may alleviate the pain and suffering that we see all around us. Let us not curse the darkness. Let us light a little candle, the candle of love. Let us light it in our hearts. How can we do that? So let me offer a few practical suggestions. Practical suggestion number 1, people often talk of falling in love. You don't have to fall in love. You have to rise in love. Your love should not be what today is commonly called love. That is not love. That is lust. That is passion. We must rise in love. We must rise in love with God and in love with our fellow human beings, as also with brother birds and animals. Therefore, establish a firm and loving relationship with God first and foremost. When you have established such a relationship, you will find it natural to offer the love of your heart to everyone around you, every creature that breathes the breath of life. Practical suggestion number 2, speak softly. Speak softly. Today, you wanted to impress on our hearts and our minds the legacy of love, but there was too much of howling. Speak softly. Speak gently. Speak with loving kindness. Treat everyone with love and respect. Greet God in everyone you meet. For did not Sri Krishna say on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, speaking unto his dear devoted disciple Arjuna, the Master said, Arjuna, never forget that I am seated in the hearts of all. Practical suggestion number 3. Stop judging others. It is so easy to judge others. We judge others. Whenever something goes wrong, we always find fault with others. No. Try to find the fault within you, and you will be abundantly blessed. True love, remember, is non-judgmental. Practical suggestion number 4. For my time is traveling fast, and we have, I believe, a few questions to be answered. Practical suggestion number 4. Love your family, love your friends, love your neighbors, but love also those who hate you and criticize you. Love thine enemy, you saw the words on the screen. Love thine enemy, and though he hate thee as a thorn, thou shalt blossom as a rose. Practical suggestion number 5. Whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you think, whatever you give, do it for the pure love of God. Remember, there are 101 ways of doing the same thing. There are 101 ways of speaking. There are 101 ways for a teacher to teach a student, for a lawyer to conduct a case in a court. There are 101 ways of prescribing medicines. Some of those ways are right, some of those ways are wrong, but only one is the very best. You must do it in that very best way because it is your offering to God. Because you are doing everything as an offering unto the Lord, you must do your work in the best way possible. Practical suggestion number 6. Learn to forgive others. Those who have harmed you or hurt you in any way, forgive them even before they ask for forgiveness, if you wish to grow in the legacy of love. And practical suggestion number 7. Remember, this is one thing that has been told you already, but it needs to be repeated again and again. Practical suggestion number 7. True love is not possession. True love is not attachment. You should love in a detached manner. I recall the words of a poet I read many years ago. The poet says, if you love someone very dearly, give him wings, let him fly. You must not capture him. You must not keep him captive. That is true love. And lastly, the 8th practical suggestion, the law of love is the law of service and sacrifice. Therefore, go out of your way to help others and rejoice everything that the will of God brings to you. Above all, keep smiling. Keep smiling. Keep smiling. Smile, smile all the while. I often say to my friends, smile at each other. Smile at your spouse. Smile at your siblings. Smile at your children. Smile at your friends and friends to be, for there are no enemies. There are either friends or friends to be. Everyone has to be a friend. Smile at everyone. Smile at those that help you. Smile at those that seem to harm you. And never forget that paradise is where love dwells and people keep on smiling at each other. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, if you like, we can have a small session of questions and answers.
Dearest Dada, what is the surest way to ensure that a person is close to the Guru?
I don't think it is necessary for the disciple to know that he is very close to the Guru. What the disciple needs to know is he obedient to the Guru? Does he follow the teaching of the Guru in daily life? This is more important than being close. Closeness may mean physically close, but there are disciples who may have seen the Guru only once and who live very far away from the Guru, but they are close to the Guru. It is in the measure in which you follow the teaching of the Guru that you become close to the Guru. Sadhu Vaswani used to tell us that you who are physically close to me should not feel that you are close to me. That way, the closest to me is the bed on which I sleep. He used to say to us.
Dear Dada, what do you do when you reach a stage when your spiritual inclination does not let you focus on the worldly needs? Is it a positive situation?
No, the more you grow in the life of the spirit, the more you will realize that there is no difference between spiritual and secular work. The same thing could be done either to gain some worldly profit or could be done as an offering to the Lord. If it is done as that is why Sri Krishna puts it very bluntly. He says to Arjuna, Arjuna, whatever you eat, make of it an offering unto me. Now eating, there can be no more in degree than eating. Eating is the most secular work. But he says, whatever you eat, you must do it as an offering unto me. If it is made an offering unto the Lord, then it becomes spiritual. So when spiritual life enters, a different color is given to the very same act that you kept on doing before spiritual life, before the spirit entered your life.
Beloved Dada, is it right to seek blessings for prosperity or material gains from Guru?
I can't say whether it is right or wrong, but it is best to ask for what is the highest. Sadhu Vaswani said to us that we go to God. He spoke in Sindhi. He said, Asim Prabhu vat vanyu tha, and Prabhu kha vani tha gajru and per gunu. That which we ask for is no better than carrots and berries. Now we should go to God and ask from Him the highest, the best. That is love for Him, longing for Him. That is He Himself. The great Darwish Ansari of Herat, he says in one of his prayers, Lord, people come to you and ask for many things, but I ask you to give me yourself. In other words, I want me to be yours and I want you to be mine. Yes. Ma tuinjo thya, tu minjo thi. This is the highest. Yes.
Respected Dadaji, my pranams and salutations to you. My question is, calm or lust is the foremost of the 5 agents. How do I conquer it? I am too weak-minded and the Indriyas are strongly pushing me down. Even with breathing exercises and prayers and mantra jap, I am unable to control.
I think man grows in self-control if he gives himself some punishment. A punishment like, say, in the season of mangoes, if you like to eat mangoes, you punish yourself by pledging that for a whole month you will keep away from mangoes. This will develop your willpower and you will be better able to grow in self-control. The difficulty is that in words we repent. Our repentance is only as far as words. I fail again. God, give me the strength. God, give me the wisdom not to fall again. This is all that I do. But if I punish myself, if I say, I will not eat, if I fall again, I will not eat gulab jamun for a whole month, and you see the result. Yes.
Dear Dada, a relative of mine lost her son 4 years back. She is asking, once the soul departs, it definitely has no memory of its previous relations. But if we are praying for the well-being, are we disturbing the soul on its path ahead?
No prayer can disturb the soul. Disturb will always bring blessings. The soul may have migrated to another body, but the soul is the same. It is the form that changes, it is the body that changes, but the soul is the same. Wherever he be, your prayers will reach him, yes.
Dear Dada, when you pray to God to always guide you on the right path, how can you be sure that even your free will is being exercised as God's will?
And this will be evident to you as you enter into silence, as you practice silence and enter deeper and deeper within yourself, you will come to know the difference between your will and God's will. Yes. Until then, you can consult a spiritual elder. He may be able to guide you. If you have a guru, you can consult the guru. He will give you the right advice. Yes.
Dear Dada, is it necessary for a spiritual aspirant to experience loneliness?
To experience?
Loneliness.
There is a saying attributed to Jesus. It is said that on one occasion Jesus said, the words are not given in the Gospel, in the Bible, but there are Islamic accounts of Jesus. There are, after they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found a number of sayings that were attributed to Jesus. And Jesus is reported to have said, that devotion, bhakti, if you move on the path of bhakti, devotion has 10 parts. 9 of them are had in silence, and the 10th in solitude, in loneliness. It is only after you have crossed those 9 parts that you come to a point where you need to be lonely. Yes. But that is the 10th. Yes.
Dear Dada, is it true that a spiritual seeker has to develop his intuitional power? If yes, how can one develop the same?
A spiritual seeker should not think of powers. That is point number 1. He should surrender himself completely to the Lord, and he should say to the Lord, grant me what you will. A seeker is not a power beggar. No. He does not beg to have power. Rather, he says, take away all the power that I have, but grant me yourself.
Beloved Dada, in marriage, how important is it for spouses to express their love for each other in words? And how often should they express?
As often as you breathe. Yes. Yes. Your life should be a life of love. Love for each other. There are very few couples who live up to this ideal, but there are. I know of one such couple. Of course, they are no longer on this earth, but the husband always, his entire life was devoted to make the spouse happy. Yes.
Dear Dada, insecurity has engulfed today's youth, and more often than not, the reason for that insecurity is frivolous and self-created. As a friend, what can I do to help my friend come above this situation?
It is said that even if you have a stick in your hand, just a small stick, you hold on to it, your fear will be reduced to some small degree, if not entirely. Therefore, the root cause is that I feel alone. Therefore, I feel insecure. If I know that I am not alone, Mahatma Gandhi, when he was a little boy, they used to call him Monia. He was 8 or 9 years old. He used to be afraid of moving out in the dark. At nightfall, he could not move from one room to another. Then one of the nurses who were in charge said to him, Monia, why are you afraid? You are not alone. And Mahatma Gandhi said, who is with me? And she told him that there is one who is with you. His name is Ram. You utter the name of Ram and Ram will be with you and you will go anywhere in the dark. And from that moment onwards, Mahatma Gandhi says that all fear departed. He used to invoke the name Ram, Ram, Ram. People used to come bringing pistols in their hands. He never used to feel afraid. He used to say to them, if God wills it, your bullet will work, otherwise your bullets won't work. He became so brave until finally a bullet did work and he was assassinated, as you know.
Dear Dada, there is a thin line between love and attachment.
There is
A thin line between love and attachment. Could you kindly explain how do we evolve to a level where we continue doing our duty to our loved ones and also remain detached?
Make the thin line thick. Why do you let it remain as a thin line? Why don't you completely and entirely surrender yourself to the Lord and say to Him, I am thine and all that thou hast given me is thine. I am only a storekeeper. My children are not mine. They are thine. Where were they? I have 2 sons. One is 4 years old, another is 8 years old. Where were they 4 years ago and 8 years ago? They were not mine. Where will they be after I depart the scene? If only you explain to yourself this, sitting in silence, I think your line will grow thicker and thicker and you will not have this difficulty.
Beloved Dada, how can we make Bada Dada's limitless love flow into us?
I think you want Bada Dada's love to flow through you. You must invoke the help of Bada Dada. You must pray to him. You must pray to him that his love may fill your heart. All you have to do is to close your eyes, shut out the world, and call out to him with deep love and longing of the heart, Bada Dada, I want your love to enter my heart. He is very generous. He is very kind. Have you ever asked him to pour his love into your hearts? No. These great ones, they do not force you to do a particular thing. You have to ask them. And what you ask for will be given to you. That is the promise of Jesus. He said, ask and it will be given unto you. Any question from the audience? Shall we bring to a close?